Hello, hello, hello! What's up, everyone? What's up, guys? I'm Einstein, and I will be joining SNES Super Stars today to comment the top year run from DunkelGotik. How you guys are doing today? Are you fine? Are you excited about this run? We are going to see some real speed right here. So, welcome everyone. We are going to see some speedy gameplay right now by DunkelGotik. We are going to play. We're going to see the run of Top Gear in the category Championship Red. And more details about why we are going to run this category specifically. I'm going to give you in some minutes. Right now, we are going to just give a general introduction about the game. Dunkel asked me to commentate this run because he will need a lot of his attention to the game, and it's already a struggle for me to commentate the game because English is not my mother language. I have to give an extra thinking about what words I will use to say, and my conversation is kind of slow. What I'm used to talk, but hopefully you guys are going to see a good run and a good presentation. And I hope I can help you guys to understand better about this game. And we're going to see more details about the speedrun strats, about the general information I will give during the track. Now we are seeing Dunkel renaming his file name for this run. Right now we have 4 vehicles. We are going to use the red one. This game has 4 vehicles. The red is the fastest, the white is the slowest. Each car has its particular strong point. The red is the fastest, but it lacks acceleration and also has a not so good nitro and also a very bad handling. In comparison with the white, has the greatest handling, the better acceleration, but doesn't have the best top speed. And the blue and the purple are intermediate cars. So we are going to see most of the action, actually all the action, in the red car. So let's go, we are going live. We're going now in the first track, that is Las Vegas. It's a very short track, you can do it under 1 minute. And we are seeing now the first oh my god, the first thing about this category. We are going to play in the championship difficulty. The championship adds some roadblocks like these fences displayed in the middle of the track. Some tracks also have stones in our way, so we need to pay really close attention to the road and try to avoid them. Also, the championship difficulty adds some speed to the CPU cars. We are facing 19 CPU cars, in total 20 cars on the grid. And just like I said, the first track is done under a minute. It's the only track we can finish under a minute, since the first one is very short. And also all the tracks are circuits, so we are going to see from 3 to 9 laps, depends on the track. And we are just starting the game. We have 8 countries. and 4 tracks in each country, in a total of 32 tracks. We are going now to Los Angeles, I believe, is the second track. And this track is very straightforward, so I will use this time to explain more about the general information in the game. Since we have 32 tracks, our object here is to finish all the 32 tracks the less amount of time possible, like any other speedrun. But for the Top Gear franchise, except for the Top Gear 2, in the first three Top Gear games, Top Gear 1, 2, and 3000, we just need to input the in-game time of each track, since the Top Gear 1 we don't have a one-player full mode. We always split the screen either with a computer or a second player. We can control about the performance of the CPU card, so that's the reason we chose IGT to register the scoring method to the leaderboard. For the marathon exhibition here, we are going to use the RTA method, the common use of the timing. But for speedrun leaderboard, we use the IGT because it's more accurate and also represents what you really did in the track. And you can't blame the bad RNG that you can get by a slow CPU. Speaking about CPU, all the CPU have the same performance. Right now we got a white car in the second half of the screen, but it's just a scheme. The performance of the car is fixed. It doesn't depend on the color of the car, so we could have either a purple or a blue car in the second half of the screen, and its performance would be the same. And now we are going to the third track, that's New York. This is the first night track of the game. We have a cool touch that when we start the track, we can see Dunkel has the headlights of his car turned on. It doesn't help anything about the vision of the track, but it's a cool feature that adds some realism into it. I spoke about the difficulties. We also have 2 more difficulties in this game. We have the amateur and the professional difficulty. We can play any of these categories, but the championship is the better one, I believe, because since the CPU cars are a little faster than the 2 previous ones, we can expect less back markers during the longer tracks. Right now we are starting the game. We have only the 3 lappers here. The first three tracks. There are only 3 laps, so we are not going to see a lot of back markers. But in the 9 lappers, the 8 lappers, we are going to see a lot of back markers. So the championship helps us because the CPU moves a little bit faster, so we can predict their position a little better, and that helps us to dodge the cars that are coming our way. And that's the biggest point in the Top Gear. Most of the time saves you gain is by avoiding the crashes with the CPU cars, and also you can avoid crashes with the objects outside the track. Since you know all the tracks and you know the proper layout of the tracks, you can easily avoid all the hazards the tracks can offer you. But the great difficulty of the Top Gear series is to avoid the CPU cars that are coming in your way. We are now in the 4th track, that is San Francisco. San Francisco adds 1 layer of difficulty to our gameplay. The first thing we are going to see here, that is Dunkel is using Nitro Strats to boost himself to the max speed as soon as possible. The red car has the slowest acceleration, so the best way to accelerate the red car is by using nitros. You can see how fast he is going up in the upright. It shows his speed, and the red car can go up to 240 kilometers per hour without the nitro, but with the nitro it can easily go past the 370 kilometers per hour. I don't know how to convert this in miles per hour for the Imperial units guys out there, but it's fast. It's very fast. And also this track features the first appearance of the pit stops. That is a cool feature about this game. You can see the right column that shows the F and E in the right. That's the fuel gauge. Right now Dunkel has only half of his fuel consumed right now. So in order to complete this track, is a very long track, has some laps, has more laps than the previous ones. So the red car can't complete this track without going into the pits. So Dunkel will go into the pits in the final lap, I believe, or one by last lap. Or right now, if he wants to go safe, and he will add some gas in order to complete the track. So he is going to the pits right now, and you see the fuel gauge is leveling up. Each stripe adds some amount of fuel, and the faster you go, more fuel you consume. So it also depends on the gear you're using. We have two kinds of transmission. We have the automatic transmission, and also we have the manual transmission. Dunkel and most of other speedrunners use the manual transmission because it can give us a better acceleration and also help us to modulate the speed in a particular technique that we are going to see in the next track, and I will explain there. So it helps us during the acceleration phase in the start of the game, and also help us to save fuel by leaving the car in the fifth gear. But if you need more acceleration, you can shift back to the 4th gear and use it to propel your car during a crash or during the acceleration phase at the start of the game. Yeah, the pit stop doesn't change the tires, it only adds fuel. Could be a cool feature also to have tire degradation, but the Top Gear game, SNES, I think didn't have that much of memory to address this kind of features. So would be cool actually. So right now we are going to the second stage of the Top Gear run. We are going to Brazil. We are going to Rio de Janeiro, and Rio de Janeiro is a track. Also adds some difficulty due to these stones. You are going to see these rocks that are positioned in a very particular way. You see Dunkel actually did pretty well there. Pass through the rocks without crashing. That's kind of tricky because you have to position your car in a specific position in the track in order to pass through the rocks. So it's a very technical track and also has a pit stop. And one thing you are going to see right now that Dunkel is using the fourth gear of the car in that particular turn. Just after the pit stops, I ask you guys to pay attention to the lower left of the Dunkel screen. You're going to see that right there, gear 5, and at that turn he will shift down 1 gear and use the brakes at the same time. As you see right now, he didn't need to use the 4th gear because he was kind of fast right there. But if you're going slow right now, like you just did there, you can shift back to the 4th gear and add some bit of speed during the cornering. And also during some corners, some tight corners, we are going to see Dunkel braking and accelerating at the same time. We call that the brake trick. And the way it works, when you press the accelerator button and the throttle button and the brake button at the same time, the car, you can decrease the turning radius of the car. So the car can turn a lot tighter than it will actually go to the turn. So when you press accelerator, the throttle and the brake pedal, not pedal, the button, at the same time you can lower the turning radius of the car and you have a better cornering during the tight corners of the tracks. The only bad thing about this trick that it cuts a lot of your speed since you're braking. So we are going to see Dunkel using right now. He lowers to the 4th gear and use the brake trick to keep the car in the tarmac. Right now he uses it again. And holding this technique cuts a lot of your top speed. So we only use when it's really necessary, only in these tight corners. We are going to see in the next tracks as well. It's a very useful technique and it's a very handy technique in the speedrun of this game in order to save a lot of time. Most people don't know about this technique, so they brake or they just release the accelerator, the acceleration button, the gas button. But by using this trick we can shave a lot of things, maybe seconds during the lap, and our average speed will be higher and we can save a lot of time. So that's it. We just cleared Rio de Janeiro. Now we are going to Peru, Machu Picchu. This is a very, very technical track and it shows us the danger that is in name of the CPU cars that you need to to clear before going to first. As you can see, it's a very tough track and also very challenging because you don't see what's coming to you. You have to just believe and hope that you don't crash like the CPU just did right there. And the back markers also play an important factor in this one. So a good run in Machu Picchu can save you 5, 6 or more seconds than a run that you crash just once or twice. So it's a very, very challenging track. And as you can see, Dunkel has gone to 370 kilometers per hour and just praying that he won't smash the rear of the CPU car. It's a very intense track, actually. So while we are here, I will keep some information for later. We can talk about the music of this game. The composer is Barry Leach. He's a very popular composer among South Americans. Also, the Top Gear franchise is very popular in Brazil and other South American countries. The fact of the music is catchy is also a cool factor about this game. Especially the first track is very popular right here. Both me and Dunkel, we are Brazilians. And Top Gear 1 is often referenced as the best SNES game that came to Brazil. Better than Zelda titles, better than Metroid, better than Mario. Just by that you can tell the Brazilians love this game. Also the other South Americans. The guys in Peru, guys in Chile. Also it's very popular right there. And talking about South America, do you guys agree that Mexico is part of South America? It's a cool question, right? Because the South Hemisphere is the one below the equator line, the globe. So it's kind of makes sense that Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru makes part of South America. But Mexico is close to the Cancer Tropic. So is it really South America? That's a cool question, and some guys will agree with me, some will don't, but it's an interesting question to ask. But we are going to Chichen Itza. That's it. That is this track Dunkel is going right now. It's a very fast track, as you can see. And the pace here is very important. The one crash in any other track will be less damaging, I should say, to the time than this one. This crash in this track is really bad. And as you can see, Dunkel is mastering and is cruising by all the CPU and back markers. He's doing a really good job by avoiding them. Yeah, I'm seeing you guys in chat that you guys agree with me that Mexico is not part of South America. So we can agree in this point. Even Fantasma, that is from Mexico, he knows it's from North America. So we need only to do a splash and go in this track. Dunkel is going to add some stripes to his fuel gauge. A fun fact about the pit stops: the white car has a lower consumption rate, so you can finish this and many other tracks without going to the pit stops and save a little bit of time compared to the red car. But overall, the red car is a lot faster than the white car. Roughly 4 up to 5 minutes faster in game time. The red car is faster than the white car. But if you are willing to start speedrunning this game, I would recommend going with the white car since it's the easiest. You don't need to worry much about the pit stops, and also has a good acceleration. If you crash, you can just in a quick way recover all your speed. So if you guys want to speedrun this game, I would recommend starting with the white car. And that's why the white car is also the most popular among the runners and among other players, because it's easy, it's very low demanding in terms of skill and in terms of pit stops. You can just enjoy the game and not worry about being frustrated by crashing in the rear of the CPU cars. and losing lots of speed like this one. So right now we are going to the 8th track. We are now in the Rainforest. It's a very interesting track in terms of the message it passes. It gives to us, save the trees. So the Amazon, we have a problem with the deforestation, and a lot of the land is being dried up and used as farmlands, and some people use the land in a bad way that just make deserts in the land, just like this one. Should be a lushful green forest, but some parts of it is actually desert. It's an interesting method that the developers use it to as a good message. Save the trees, don't harm the environment, take care of your planet. That's the only Earth we live in. So cool message this track gives to us. And also this track features, I don't know, I should say a glitch in the minimap. If you see the minimap, some parts of the minimap, the sprite of the representation of the car and the CPU, sometimes they vanish. I don't know if it's because the refresh rate of this track. That's a lot of sprites going on here, so you know the game lags a little bit and hides the CPU and the one-player dots from the minimap. So that's it. We finished South America in Mexico XD, and we are going to Japan right now. So we are going to Tokyo. It's a very long track, and we are going to see Donkey using a cool speedrun strat that is boosting the start. He will mash through the gears 1, 2, 3, and after 1-2 seconds change to gear 4, and after that he will change to gear 5 as soon he hits the 235 mark. One cool factor about the mechanics of this game that I will explain right now. I explained to you guys about the fuel in this game. When you refuel, when you are refueling, you add gas to your car, right? So that means you can stay a little bit longer in the track. You have more energy to burn. But there's also another mechanic that is present in the Top Gear 1 series. That is the weight of the fuel is also an important factor to consider when you are running. What's it all about? When you have let's say a 1,000 kilograms car and a 2,000 kilograms car, you expect that 200 kilograms car will consume a lot more energy and a lot more fuel than the 1,000 kilogram car. Since it's twice the weight, you expect that it will at least consume a lot more fuel than the lighter car. This works in a very interesting way in Top Gear 1. But it's not about the weight of the car. It's about the weight of the fuel. The more fuel you have, slower your car will go. So the less fuel you have, faster your car will go. So that's why Dunkel stopped right now. He stopped when he had almost nothing displayed there of gas and just went full tank. And pay attention to the top speed that Dunkel is achieving. Wait a little bit because he just used a nitro to accelerate his car out of the pit stops. So pay attention to the top speed that Dunkel is going to display. When your car is in the full tank mode, full fuel, you see the speed is 1, and when the car is below 25% of its fuel capacity, the speed of the car is a little bit higher, let's say 5 to 6 kilometers per hour. Sometimes you can even get 10 kilometers per hour, and that makes a huge difference because you can, since you are speedrunning the game, you want to shave anything. Oh my god, why is it so hard to say the sounds with th? You want to shave any tenth, any hundredth you can possibly want. You could what I was going to say. Sorry about that. Since you are willing to shave anytime you want, this kind of mechanics is very important to know and to use to favor you, save more time. So that's why Dunkel is trying to drive the car the lowest amount of fuel possible. As you can see, he just barely finishes with gasoline. And this is very interesting to notice in these longer tracks, since you need to pit and refuel for a larger amount of gasoline. You can see this mechanic going in action. And sometimes we just make to the finish line without any energy left. That's part of the strategy, since each time each stripe that you add in the pit stops, you lose like 8 tenths to 1 second. There are 2 runners, or is 1/2 just there by default? Is 1/2 just by default. This game doesn't have a 1-player full mode, so even if you play in first player, you will share the screen with the CPU car, the computer car. I don't know why they made the game this way, because Top Gear 2 has a 1-player full mode and also Top Gear 3000. But that's the way the game is made, so we just need to pay attention in the upper half of the screen. One thing I think about this situation, why the game is in split screen and not 1-player full. I believe that's not the truth or the official information. I believe that's the option the developers gave to the players. Feel the competition. So when you are playing with split screen, you always feel the competition, the pressure to perform better than your opponent. Even if you play with against the computer, it gives a challenge to the player than just driving 1-player full. But I believe that's not the way they think, actually, but that's the way I'm most convinced of. That's the why they put the game in split screen. ultra wide intent by the creator. It could be as well, but I don't know if ultra wides were a thing back in 1992. Yeah, Top Gear 1 was one kind of this 2.5D racing games that is not actually 2D because you can see, how should I say? You have this perception, this insight that you are going forward, but actually the screen is coming to you and your car is fixed the screen. So it's not the car that is going forward, it's the screen that is going backwards against you. The track is going back to you, not you are going forward. And that's one thing I noticed, and also I talked about this with one game developer, the game developer for the Horizon Chase Turbo, that is a spiritual sequel to the Top Gear series. And this game, I talked about this particular thing. Is the car moving forward or is the scenery going backwards? And he said is the scenery going backwards and the car is standing still and just altering the sprite left, right, but the car is fixed in the center and the screen is moved. And also, I would recommend as well Horizon Chase Turbo. It's a very good game, a great game. If you guys can check it out, it would be awesome. You can play it PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and also in the PC. So right now we are going to the third track in Japan. We are in Yokohama. See how fast Dunkel is going. Since this track is only 3 laps, we are not worrying as much as the other tracks about the back markers, but we need to pay close attention because the back markers tend to appear just before the third lap, as I was saying. And the start of this track, you go downhill, and this momentum is carried over the entire track actually. And one crash here is really painful and hurts a lot in terms of time wasted. So Dunkel is making a really good job right here and did the track sub 1 minute and 30. That's a great time by Dunkel. So far, so good. Another question, is kilometers per hour by default or is it a setting? I believe you can change it to miles per hour. I don't know if I'm correct. Just let me check right here. Because I just use kilometers per hour because it's the main system of measure that we use outside of the United States, I believe. Let me know real quick about this one. Just a second, guys. That's an important question because I know for sure that Top Gear 2 and Top Gear 3000 have this option to change. I know Top Gear 2 and 3000 you can change to miles per hour, But let me check here. Yes, you can change as well. It's in the menu of the game. So if you want to have your speed displayed in miles per hour, you can change that in the menu of the game. So Dunkel is cruising by Kyoto right now. That's the track number 12. He's using also the brake trick in this particular corner. It's the only corner we are going to use brake trick in this track. The rest of the track is pretty doable without the brake trick. Since this game is not does not simulate the real world car dynamics in terms of tire grip, the best way to do the corners is just sticking by the inside of the car. It's just sticking by the inside of the corner, and then try to hold the direction the corner is going, and try to hold the car inside the asphalt. So as you're gonna see right here, Dunkel will release a little bit because this corner is very tight, and you'll see that most of the corners you will start, if not the farthest left or right, at least the middle of the track. Another cool trivia for you guys. Some people asked about the speed measurement unit. We have either kilometers per hour and miles per hour. We actually preferred miles per hour in Top Gear 2 because it has a reference value that is used for us in terms of speedrun strategies, and even we prefer using kilometers per hour in any other game. In Top Gear 2 we use miles per hour because of that speedrun strategy. Unfortunately, we won't see Top Gear 2 in this SNES Super Stars marathon, but hopefully in another occasion we can explain more about why we use miles per hour in Top Gear 2 instead of kilometers per hour like in Top Gear 1 and 3000. Another cool feature, I won't say, I should say another cool trivia that you guys may want to know. Dunkel is Brazilian like me, but he loves to use miles per hour. I don't know why, he just prefers using miles per hour because everything makes sense in miles per hour in his head. Despite any other place in Brazil use kilometers per hour, he just likes the imperial unit system. There's a cool facts for you guys about our runner today, DunkelGotik. He thinks in English when he plays, maybe. Alright, we just did Japan, and now we are going to enter the hardest part of the run. We are going to Germany. Germany has some of the most difficult tracks in the game. This one isn't really difficult, but the back marker management, the way we avoid the back markers here, is kind of hard because we only have 3 lanes to deal with these guys. And also, wow, oh man, the CPU oh my god, this CPU just blocked Dunkel in the straight line when he was using the nitro. That's bad, but hopefully he can do a clean run the rest of the laps. The critical laps are the lap 1 and I don't know, the lap 4 and 5 that you have most of the cars displayed on the track. It's harder to avoid them. But as you can see, Dunkel is a very experienced player. He just memorized all the layout of the 32 tracks. It's not a big deal for him. As you can see, he didn't crash once in the barriers. The main question here is he going to survive all this? Commentator's curse, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. What do I say? Oh, sorry about that, Dunkel. I just cursed you and you crashed. But anyways, the main thing here in Top Gear 1 is just avoiding the CPU cars. It's not a trivial question. How should I avoid these cars? We speedrunners try to develop a strategy, a way to predict how these cars are moving the track. I will give a shout out to Rio De Janeiro. He did a script and he studied a lot about the CPU cars in this game, and he published it to us that we can pay attention to the CPU cars, that they have a pattern of movement. If you pay close attention to the CPU cars moving, you can see that they are going right and left until they bump on the edge of the track. So when they reach the left portion of the track, they start to move right. The same happens to the right part. When they hit the right curb, they start moving left. So that's a pattern, but the way and the speed they move side to side is random. Some cars move faster, some cars move slower, and that's the main thing you have to deal when avoiding the CPU cars. You don't know if you have enough speed to overcome them in the right direction. You don't know if you have the right amount of speed to clear them by the right or by the left. And making a commitment if you are going right or left is crucial, because each time you hesitate to take this decision, if you are going to go right or left, you have less time to react to the car, and the chances of crash are increased. So you have to be brave in order to avoid these cars. Most of them are pretty easy to avoid, especially in the tracks that you have 5 or 7 lines. But when you have 3 lanes like this one, you have to make a commitment and choose one side to overtake the CPU cars and back. Shoutouts to the Germany guys watching us. Welcome, welcome. We are in the EU right now. We are going to see Germany, and after that we are going to see Scandinavia, France, and Italy. We'll be spending a lot of time in the EU right now. Now we are going to the least favorite track, at least for me, in the game, that is Cologne. And Cologne has this layout. You can see by the minimap, the track has no straights actually. It's a bump show. You don't have space. You have ultra tight turns, like you are going to see right now. Dunkel will be using a lot of the brake trick as soon as he clears the CPU cars in front of him. And the only spot we have to release our nitro is this part of the track. It's not actually straight, but it's the best part. We can use our nitro and use brake trick and a lot of fourth gear to hold the car in the track. As you can see, Dunkel is using the brake trick. He is accelerating and braking at the same time in turning. This lowers the turning radius, improves the cornering speed, and the overall cornering of the car. Our turns better by using the brake trick. In cost, by the cost of the speed of the car, you won't go any faster by using the brake trick. So that's a question as well. Should you use the brake trick or just release? You can release by the first half the corner, and when you think you are going to the outside, you just press and hold brake while you are accelerating to execute the brake trick and keep your car inside the lines. So that's it. That is Cologne. The track starts in the afternoon and ends at night. It's a very cool touch. Speaking about the statics of this game, each track has its individual background, and also some tracks are at night and some tracks have this fade out. You start at afternoon and the track start to dusking out and you finish at night, and some tracks you start at night and finish in the morning, like this one we are going to see in an instant. We are going to Black Forest. This is one of the hardest tracks in the game as well, but it's not about the track layout, it's about the back marker lapping thing that we just talked about just before here. And this track has some of the highest speeds of the game. As you can see, we are going really fast here. Just wait, we are going 250 kilometers per hour, but just wait a little bit. When Dunkel uses his first nitro, you are going to see close to 400 kilometers per hour. Let's see right now. It's a very epic moment. The nitros in Black Forest. Let's go, Dunkel. Let's go, voila. 360 kilometers per hour. And we already have back markers in lap 2. Kinda sad. And that's why Black Forest is hated by a lot of Top Gear 1 runners. When this kind of thing happens, it's very sad. I can feel the pain by Dunkel. And Dunkel will opt for a safer strategy here. He will keep his nitros to use when he's exiting the pit stops, and when he crashes, he may use one nitro as well. Each time you start the track, you have 3 nitros to use. Some tracks we have a clearer and wider space at the start, so we can use one nitro there to build up our speed and reach the first place as soon as possible. In the ideal world, we want to use the nitros for all the 32 tracks to accelerate with the red car. But since the chances of a crash in the first opening laps are a little bit higher because we need to clear 19 cars in our front, we we prefer to use these nitros later when we have a clean road in front of us. And by that we can save for moments like this. We crash in the back of the car. We crash at the back of the car. We can use by exiting the pit stops and regain our optimal speed faster than by not using, by risking, have the risk of using the nitro in the start of the game. That's a lot of speeds per hour, in fact. And also the hitbox of this game is funny. I should say that. You see the tree was 2 meters away from the car, and Dunkel still hate the tree. It's very sad. So Dunkel did a 3 for 9. You can pass through this track with the white car without going into the pits. It's one of the tracks that the white car is faster than the red car. The amount of time wasted in the pit stops by the red car in that track doesn't make up for the time gain. But overall, the red car is faster. Now we are finishing the Germany section of the game with Frankfurt. It's a simple track, but we are going to see 8 laps here. So it's an endurance race for Dunkel. Another cool thing that I remember to tell you guys about this game. This game has 3 major versions. We have the US NTSC version, we have the Japanese NTSC version, and we have the EU version, that's PAL version, that runs at 50 Hz. The refresh rate is a little bit lower, and the speed of the car is a little bit higher, and the fuel consumption as well. But in some tracks, like this one, you can clear the track, you can finish the track without going into the pits with the white car, actually. You can finish this track without going the pits in the EU version, but in the US and Japanese versions, you can't finish this track without going the pits. It's a cool trivia for you guys, fun facts. And that's why most of the runners, the upper half of the leaderboard, prefer to use the European version of this game to speedrun. And also the American version, the US version of this game, has some statics difference from the Japanese and EU versions. Most of the text boxes that are yelled by the racer from inside the car, the US version has less text than the Japanese and the EU versions. As you can see, the pit exit in Frankfurt is very problematic. You're just leaving and bam, you have a post, a lamp post. Nice game design right there. So things like the swearing, cool, eat dust, and some of these messages that are displayed when your car passes through an opponent or your car lap the CPU, when your car wrecks into an object or bump 3 or more times in the back of the back marker. Some of these messages are censored in the US version. The US version has a lot of less messages than the EU and Japanese versions. Less text. Another thing that we have different from the EU, Japanese, and US versions, that the US version, some of the advertisement, some of the signs that are the side of the track, some of these advertisements are censored in the US version. You are going to see in the Bordeaux track in France, we have a fine wine sign, very popular. This fine wine sign doesn't display in the US version. The fine wine only appears in the EU and Japanese version of the game. Apparently, the US didn't like a message of alcohol and drinkings and some kind of stuff in a kids video game back in the 90s. So this kind of scenery is different from the US version. And that's Germany done. Now we reach the second half of the game. We are going to my favorite stage, the Scandinavia. Most of the tracks are covered in snow. We are starting in Stockholm. Stockholm is a cool track. It's a cool track. This first portion of the track is technical. You have to be very patient by using the brake trick and releasing some of the acceleration of the car in order to keep your car in the asphalt. And the second half of the track is just pure speed. You hit the nitros button and go fast. Also, it's a very short track, only 3 laps. All the tracks in Scandinavia are 3 lappers. It's a very short stage. And a little brief, a little moment to breathe out of Germany. Germany was kind of intense, quite hard. And we have a moment to relax a little bit. Before going to France, that is the next hard stage of the game. And shout out to our Scandinavian friends watching the SNES Super Stars. We are going to have one race in each Scandinavian country. One race in Sweden, one race in Denmark. That's the next one. One race in Finland, and to finish one race in Norway. And we just hit the 1 hour mark. And let's go, Copenhagen. Scandinavia also has also has the best backgrounds in the game, at least for me. Some very nice, well-drawn Scandinavian architecture and landscape. Copenhagen is a easy track. The only hard part is coming right now, is this turn to the left that Dunkel had to use the brake trick. Apart from that, it's a straightforward track, no big deal, easy turns, You can do almost all full speed, except for that one. You need to release a little bit. If you are willing to risk your run, you can do that turn without the brake trick. But the turning point is ultra challenging, and the risk is that your car is going to the snowy part and lose a lot of speed. And with with the red car, losing speed is not a good thing because the acceleration is really bad compared to the other cars of the game. Speaking of the other cars of the game, we have the purple, the white, and the blue cars. Each one have its own category in speedrun.com. So if you want to speedrun this game, you can choose one of these 4 cars, and each car has its own category, because you can change the cars between the game. You have to tackle the speedrun, all the 32 tracks at once in one segment. And the difference is, if you want to choose another car, you are losing a lot of speed compared to the red car, and losing a lot of time consequence. The speedrun of the red car is about, let me get the world record right now. The world record for the red car, the championship series, is 1 hour 19 minutes and 55 seconds by Yoshimitsu. Yoshi is a legendary player of this game. In fact, these achievements of him getting the dream time about the dream time under 1 hour and 20 minutes, the sub 1 minute. Oh my god, the sub 1 hour and 20 minutes. It's an achievement of the game. It's really impressive, the level of gameplay. And Dunkel also has a very good time. He did a 1:22. But if you compare the performance of the red car with the other ones, the purple car does 1 hour and 23. I'm speaking the world record. So you lose 2 to 3 minutes just by performance and pit stops that the red car can give you. And the blue is a little bit slower than the purple, and the white is the slowest. But the speedrun of the white is a little bit faster than the blue, because the blue car you need to go to the pits a lot more. But the performance of the blue car is just a little bit higher in terms of speed. Alright, we are finishing Scandinavia. We are going to Oslo. Like I said before, the optimal strategy for the start is to hit the nitros as soon as possible, so your car builds up acceleration faster, and you clear all the CPU cars faster and go to first place. That's the safer place you can ever ask for. And after that, it's just cruising by and managing the optimal cornering, trying to not hit the curb. And for the championship series, like we are seeing right now, avoiding the obstacles that are on the track, like those rocks we just passed on the right. You may ask how many pit stops, how many pit stop tracks we have in the game. We have 32 tracks, and we have 13 of these tracks with pit stops. The red car needs to pit in all these 13 tracks. The blue car can skip 2 tracks, the San Francisco and Hiroshima. The blue car can finish the track without going to the pits. The purple car has to pit in all the tracks as well. And the white car, you don't need to pit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. So that's an interesting fact. You need to pit in all the 13 tracks with the red and purple car. You don't need to pit in two tracks with the blue car, and you can skip 6 pit stops, 6 tracks with pit stops with the white car. So let's go. We are going back to business again in France. We're starting in Paris. Paris. Paris is a very challenging track in terms of corners, actually. Not in terms of CPU avoidment, CPU management, and dodging the cars and back markers. This last section, you need to use a lot of the brake trick to keep your car inside the track. Also, this first part of the track, you need to keep the car inside the lines. As you can see, when Dunkel reaches that sector of the track, he lowers the gear to the 4th gear and hit the brakes to do the brake trick. So that way he can improve even more his cornering speed and his turning radius. The 4th gear cuts a little more speed and helps with the steering of the car. As you can see, Dunkel lowers the 4th gear again and releases as soon as he passes through the corner. Do you have a category for a pair run of this game, maybe? So the bottom car is a player? That could be an interesting RTA instead of waiting that computer car. Yes, we actually do have a category for co-op. And the co-op is RTA. You need to work together with your partner to be as fast as possible, but you don't need to finish the track with both cars. That's the cool point. You can just burn all of your fuel with the second player. So when the first player finishes, you don't need to wait the second player finish. Instead, it appears the race over screen, and you advance to the next track without waiting your partner to finish. And for the next track after, your partner will be starting in first place because he finished in 20th place. He finished last. So in this next track, he will be starting in first place. And in first place, you have clear road ahead of you. So they invert the strategy. The first player now starts to burn the fuel as fast as he can. So he starts to run in the first or second gear for the entire duration of the track. And the second player starts to go moving faster and do all this stuff normally, like he was going to do in a speedrun of the game. Plus, you have another strategy that the guys who did the recent world record, they implemented a nitro boost. So the guy that is burning fuel, he keeps his nitros for himself. So the next lap that the car is approaching, your partner car is approaching, he gives a nitro bump in the rear of the first player or the second player, the player that is actually running the track. So the player that is running the track can get a little bit more speed in sacrifice of the nitros of the other partner. So it's a, how can I say, it's a relay. Sometimes you are nitro boosting your partner and burning fuel, and sometimes you are properly running the track and need to finish it in first place. It's a very, very interesting technique that these guys use to shave a little bit of seconds of the run. And also some tracks you can't even go to the end and burn all of your fuel. Like the 3-lappers, you don't have this time to burn all the fuel. So you have to properly drive the track. So both guys need to drive the track and finish 1-2 to save more time than the burn fuel and get the racing over screen. The co-op run of this game is very interesting. If you have another partner that is interested as well in doing this, you can watch the guys with the world record. They did a great job right there. Shout out to Yoshi again and Jonas. Both of these guys made a cool run in co-op mode. So we are finishing Nice. As you can see, very unfair last corner of the track. You have fences both sides, right and left, and when you have a CPU card right there and it's your time to pass through, it's very sad. You just need to accept that you are going to crash. It's RNG, bad RNG. You just keep moving on and go to the next one. Hopefully I could explain well your question, you guys that asked about the co-op. I know my English is not on prime today, it's very early for me, but I'm trying my best. Let's go to Bordeaux, another very, 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 very challenging track. So now we have to deal with back markers and a challenging layout. And in the championship, we have even more difficulty because we have these tires. I think that those are tires scattered around the track, and we also have rocks to deal with. So we have left just a really tight space to fit our car, and sometimes that's the exact place some of our evil opponents want to hide and just wait to appear when we are passing by those sections. That's the main reason we don't like this track. Having a good run here, it's a lot of RNG based, like you guys see now. And then also this downhill, you hit 300 and more kilometers per hour. It gets even harder to avoid the guys on the track. And also, this track features the fine wine sign, as said before, that is censored, that is altered in the US version of the game. The US version doesn't appear the fine wine message on the signs. And we have also a pit stop. A very tight pit stop entrance. Oh, fine wine. That's a reference for the good quality wines that France produce, especially in this region of Bordeaux. And that's why it's represented the track. It's a cool way to honor the track with the region with their finest products. Yeah, people from France or people who visit Bordeaux and regions close to it can confirm that some quality wine comes from there. As you can see, Dunkel is having quite a hard time to dodge the CPU cards. I can't blame him because this track is really hard. You need you need luck. That's the word. You need luck. And when you get this bad RNG is sad because you can really do nothing to avoid these guys. Dunkel is really giving his best to avoid these guys. And he will finish under 4 minutes, which is a respectable time. Also, food in general is good. Nice, very nice to know that. And that's it. We finishing France with Monaco. But wait, Monaco isn't France. Yeah, it's in France, but apparently it is in France in this game, like Mexico is in South America. So geography is not the strongest point of this game actually. But never mind, Monaco is close to France, so here we are. If you exercise your imagination, you can try to see that this Monaco layout of Top Gear resembles a little bit of the Monaco GP layout of Formula 1. We even have this humongous tunnel. So, and also we have this hill. We go uphill here. We have some time turns to the left, to the right, and to the right again. We have a kind of hairpin in the middle part of the track, this one. So if you exercise your imagination, you can see the Monaco GP layout for the guys who know Formula 1 and racing in general. And also welcome everyone who just tuned in the SNES Super Stars. We are having a run of Top Gear 1 category championship red car, the fastest category of Top Gear 1. Together here with my friend, the runner of today, DunkelGotik, a very experienced runner. runner of this game since 2017. More than 5 years running this game. Knows back to back how to do well in this game, and presenting to you guys a very good quality run of the game. Also, guys, if you have another question, you have more questions about the Top Gear franchise, could be Top Gear 1, 2, 3000, and the speedrun, you can ask me in the chat. I'm reading the chat. Top Gear 1 is it's quite simple in terms of speedrun. You don't have a lot of techniques that you have in Top Gear 2 and 3000. But the main thing in Top Gear 1 is consistency. Like, if you are going to get a good time in the speedrun, you need to be very precise in terms of track knowledge and CPU dodging. That's the main source of time save that you can have in the speedrun. We don't have any fancy tricks, fancy glitches. We have a gameplay more resemblant to the casual, but we have some cool tricks in our sleeves that some people may not know. That's the brake trick, that's the fuel management, driving with the lowest fuel amount of the lowest amount of fuel possible, shifting back to the 4th gear to have a better acceleration. Know when is good to use the 4th gear, when it's time to save fuel by using the 5th gear, and some other cool things that are special to each track individually. Some tracks have different strategies. Some tracks you can drive any way that is good. Starting the track with nitros, when to start, when to not start, when to risk it, when not to risk it. And that's the overall view of the Top Gear 1 speedruns. I always avoided that red car because of its fuel consumption. Yes, the red car, some people don't like the red car because of the fuel consumption. Yeah, it's really high fuel consumption. As you can see, Dunkel barely made it to the finish line in this 3-lap course. As you can see, it's very tight. And the red car is the most challenging one, just because since you have to burn a lot of fuel and you don't have the best acceleration, you need to try your best to survive and not crash, to keep the best characteristic of this car alive, that is the top speed. The top speed really pays off for the red car. As you can see, Dunkel made a really good start right now. And you see he can keep this momentum through the entire track. As you can see, 240 kilometers per hour. And the white car, for example, only hits 200 kilometers per hour. Barely passes the 300s with nitro. So using the red car, really, it's a real advantage in the speedrun. But if you can try the speedrun with the white car, the purple car, the blue car, the categories are split for each car. Are there any other circuits that are based on real race circuits? I believe no. I believe the only resemblance to real circuits this game offers is the Monaco track. But if you are asking in general, if you know the game Horizon Chase Turbo, the devs actually made a lot of reference to real world circuits, some of the tracks in that game. You can check it out. Like the last track of the game makes resemblance of the Rockenheiring circuit. We have Interlagos in Brazil represented as well, Monaco, and some other real-life tracks displayed the minimap. How do you manage the fuel on that car? Does it take away a lot of time? Yes, but in the long term, using the red car is faster by 2 or 3 minutes, depends on the luck you have by not crashing in the CPU cars. So, like you see, Dunkel is over 300 and so kilometers per hour. The red car really pays off in the long term. Even the tracks with pit stops, sometimes the red car is a little bit faster than the white car. The white car is the most economic in terms of fuel. But some tracks, the red car can't beat the white car. Lose some time there, but overall the red car is faster. And you see the CPU has run out of fuel, and that's what happens when you don't go to the pits. You get stuck. There is a hope for our CPU car that is getting bumps to reach the pit stop booth. If it has enough luck, he can get some bumps and reach the CPU, the pit stop, and get some fuel back there. Otherwise, it's the end of line for our CPU. But Dunkel is giving him a little hand, a little bump in the back. But as you can see, it's race over for our fellow CPU car, and that's what happens when you run out of fuel. Do you put a lot of more fuel in this car when in pits? Yes, a lot more. In fact, this car, all of the tracks you need to go only once to the pit stops. But in this car, the red car, you need to go twice to the pit stops in the London track, the track that is next, 2 tracks next of this one. It's the only track we need to go twice to the pit stops due to high fuel consumption. In fact, London is the longest track of the game. We are going to see really soon, pretty soon. One cool thing that happened there in the previous track in Rome, by running out of fuel, the CPU has helped Dunkel lower the RTA timing, so we saved time in the marathon because we didn't need to wait for the CPU car to cross the line. So thank you, white car. We really appreciate it. Oh, great dodge by Dunkel right there. That was really close. Dunkel pushed his car to the right and dodged the car by going into the grass. Quick reflexes right there. But unfortunately, he was caught by an evil CPU car that was hiding in a downhill. Playing in two-player mode also use IGT? No, Rafa. We use RTA for the co-op run. So when you guys are playing with two people controlling player 1 and 2, you use the RTA method. And we are in the last track of Italy. It's Florence. Florence is a very cool track, at least for me. You need to use brake trick just once, like Dunkel did right there. And the rest of the track is full speed and you have some of these downhills. Thrilling track. Also, we start at night, but when we are reaching the end of the track, it starts to... We get the sunrise. Very cool. In fact, Dunkel is using the brake trick at that corner to be safe. But if you want to save a little bit more of time, you can do that corner full speed. I don't say full speed, I would say a little bit of release in the start of the corner. You can make it through without touching the grass. Yeah, we have some bad boys right here. They are giving Dunkel a hard time to dodge. One cool thing that is I just remembering right now. This track, it takes longer to the sunrise in the EU version than the NTSC version, Japanese and US version of the game. The sunrise happens at 1 minute and 30 for the NTSC version and 1 minute and 45 for the PAL version. That's why Dunkel crossed the line at night, and after that the screen started to shine. So here we are, the last section of the game. We are going to the UK, the United Kingdom. The first track we are going to face is London. It's the longest track of the game. We have 8 laps and 2 pit stops. We are going to pass the 4-minute mark that we didn't pass in any track. Now we are going to see a track over 4 minutes. It's an endurance race right here. And Dunkel will do 2 pit stops. The first pit stop he will complete the fuel gauge. So he is going to 100% capacity. And the second pit stop he will go to half fuel, half of the stripes, to finish the track with the lowest amount of fuel possible. Like I said before, and for the guys that just tuned in, this Top Gear game has an interesting mechanic that when you have less fuel, your car go faster, because less fuel means less weight in the tank, and the dynamics say that less weight you can go faster. Did I just see a CPU blink right there? No, just my impression. So the less amount of fuel you have, the faster you go. You have faster top speed. That's the fuel low sign right there. And we are going to pits in this lap. We are going to see Dunkel filling all up of his fuel gauge. It's a two-pit strategy. Box, 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 box. And both cars in pit stop. Dunkel exits first and uses a nitro to boost himself out of the pit box and improve his acceleration. As you can see, the red car has a higher top speed, but also keeps its momentum for a little bit longer than the other cars. So that's why the red car is faster. As you can see, Dunkel completed a whole lap over 240 km/h. That's very meaningful if you compare against the white car that hits just only 200 and 200, barely 205 km/h. Top Gear 3000, yeah, Top Gear 3000 is also my favorite series. It's also the most technical Top Gear from this SNES trilogy. If you ask Dunkel and me, both of us would say Top Gear 3000 is the best Top Gear, the best Top Gear for speedrunning and for playing. So it's pit stop time. Now we are going to see Dunkel only using half of the, only half of the completion of the fuel gauge, the fuel tank. That's it. Dunkel is out of the pits, and one thing I wish I mentioned later, but now we are seeing, since the CPU car is in the pits, the refresh rate of the game improves a little bit, so we can go a little bit faster while the CPU car is in the pits, because the game doesn't process the scenery for the lower half of the screen. We used to call that the 60 Hz mode, but it's not actually 60 Hz because Dunkel is playing the EU version of the game. So it's the 50 Hz mode. In that mode, when the car is in the pits, your car goes a little bit faster, but that comes in the consumption, the fuel consumption. You have the car spends more fuel during that phase, because the game counts the amount of distance per frame. The fuel count is the amount of frames you run by the number of frames the screen has computed. So if you go in a higher refresh rate, you start to burn more fuel than the normal gameplay. That's an interesting fact. And we also use that for speedrunning purposes. We try to pit. We try to use our nitros when the car is not in the pit stops. The CPU car is not in the pit stops. So in that way, we save a little bit more of fuel during the extension of the track. So let's go. We are now in Sheffield. That is the hometown for the Chemical guys, I believe, or Gremlin. I don't know if it's Chemical or Gremlin that is in Sheffield. I believe it's Gremlin Graphics. So why not put the city of the developers inside the game? So here we are running in Sheffield. Oh, Dunkel just hit the barrier. the lamppost. He tried to avoid the two CPU cars that were coming in his way, but unfortunately hit the lamppost. As you can see, you need some luck to have the best timing to face the CPU cars. Like in the straights, it's a good time to have a back marker coming by because you have more time. It's more predictable than in the corners. Who is playing the white car? The CPU. This game doesn't have a one-player full mode, so we are always playing in split screen, even if we are playing in one player. We have the second half of the screen played by the CPU. As you can see, computer is displayed. Just to remember that the lower half is not controlled by us, only the first half. You're welcome. Also, guys, if you have any other questions, we are just finishing the run right now. We are in the track 31. After this, we have only one more track. So we are just getting into the finish here. And we are in Loch Ness. Loch Ness, I believe, is Scotland. I believe it's Scotland. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Loch Ness is a technical track. As you can see, Dunkel will be using a lot of the brake trick to keep his car inside the limits. And this last section is just all about keeping momentum and praying for not crashing into the back of any car. So far, so good. Brake trick to keep the car inside the lines. Here we go for the last nitro. And hope we don't crash in the last section. It's blind. Oh my. Yeah, that happens. That's it. That's Loch Ness. Is there a race category where you haste this game but it's split screen? Yes. Every single category. Did the Loch Ness sides get censored in the US version as well? No. Actually, no. They are the same in all versions. And here we are in the last track of the game. We are now in Stonehenge. As you can see, it looks like a Tetris block, the shape of the track. And this track is very easy, I should say. And it's very fun to play as well. We have these very nice down hills, cool up hills. Brilliant to watch and to play as well. 4 laps and we are done. Now 3 laps. Let's go. That's fast. Oh my, 360 kilometers per hour. That's a lot of miles per hour. More than 200 miles per hour. That's fast. As you can see, Dunkel uses the nitro in the uphill part, so he can explore the natural physics of the game, that the car gets a little bit speedier in the downhills than the uphills. Actually, you lose less speed going uphill than you actually gain going downhill. You gain a lot more speed going downhill than you lose by going uphill. So that's it. This is the final corner, and that's the GG for Dunkel. He got a 1:47.30 and didn't split the timer. I can't believe this thing was Dunkel. Yeah, this game has nothing to do with the Top Gear television series. GG, Dunkel! That's it. That's the end of the run. We just beat all the 32 tracks and finished first in all of them. Congratulations! You're going to see a symbolic finish for this game, symbolic ending. It just says congratulations on completing Top Gear. That's it. That's all we are going to see. And yeah, no credits, no animations, just Feels Goodman holding his champagne and holding his left arm up, smile, happy. So that's it, guys. We are finished. We are finished with Top Gear. You just saw the championship red speedrun. Me and Dunkel, we will be back to the SNES Super Stars marathon together with the Top Gear 3000 hard mode category. We are going back to Top Gear in 2 days, I believe. I believe it's Monday. So if you guys want to check out the Top Gear 3000 speedrun, check us out in Monday, I believe. We are going to see Dunkel playing the Top Gear 3000 hard mode. And for me, that's all. Thanks everyone who tuned in to watch us. Thank you guys for asking. Thank you guys for everything, and keep tuning in SpeedGaming for more of the SNES Super Stars. And see you guys Monday with the Top Gear 3000 speedrun. Have a great day, everyone, and see you.